to share.
Welcome everybody, Troy Olson here. Today we're going to be doing my second podcast. My special guest, I've got Rod Rodriguez with Hawk Security Services. We're going to be talking about several things from home security to camera systems to self-protection of yourself. So Rod, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I like the whole setup and everything. So.
Oh, absolutely. Tell me about the consultation approach that you take when you go out to a homeowner. Like, how do you know the best security system for that particular house, that the setup? Walk us through what that looks like.
Well, I think consulting with the family is definitely important. I don't want to make it seem like we have packages that we offer. The main reason for me going out there and consulting was I want to make sure that the system that we put into their home kind of fits the family. It fits the outline of the house. So this is where it really starts. So typically I like to meet somebody in their home, preferably the decision makers, whether it be mom and dad or any of the older adults, both roommates be there, because I definitely want any concerns that they may have dealing with their home and security. The first thing I looked at is it an existing system? Do they have an existing system? Because most homes, especially in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, typically come pre-wired. So one thing that I like to look at is basically evaluate their home, see what they currently have, and then tell them what they have, and tell them what, based on the conversation that we had, based on their lifestyle and any of their concerns, how we can meet their concerns with what they have. So sometimes it's easy as in they have something already sufficient for what their concerns, and we monitor them. And of course, you know, most homes that are custom built don't have the system that can meet everyone's concern, and there's where I come in and I consult with them. When it deals with having the system they're gonna feel the most secure, and this is where cameras come in. I mean, you know this, you sell a lot of homes. Most homes don't come with surveillance, and I think surveillance is a great deterrent and another addition to your security piece. Now, I do say surveillance because I want people to understand the difference between surveillance and security. Having cameras isn't security for your home, it's just another tool, but your security is really your base, it's really your foundation, if that makes sense.
So a couple months ago, I had a client that they large home on a large lot, and it was an older home but had been redone, and the house wasn't wired on the exterior for cameras. They wanted to put a camera kind of overseeing, you know, the driveway, the front. It was a front load garage area, but then also on all four corners of the home, showing out those directions, north, south, east, west, as well as the back patio for the back door to go into the home, and then like overlooking the pool area. So when a home is an older home and it's not pre-wired for that, how do you guys address that, and how do you get that set up to have 6 or 7 exterior cameras?
Great question. So when it comes to cameras, I think there's a misunderstanding, especially with technology. As much as technology has grown, you have to know the difference between the type of surveillance that you want. Something that's extremely popular right now is Ring. And the reason I mention Ring is because it's out there, everybody knows. It's not something that we don't utilize in our systems, because Ring is more of an interactive, meaning that it's internet-based and it waits for a motion in order for it to record. The type of cameras that typically I like in favor of when it comes to security as a CC, closed circuit TV camera. And the reason we do that is because it's wired, it's hard drived, and they're constantly recording. And so if this home that you just mentioned, we cover the 360 degrees and it meets all the concerns that the family has, they feel protected, they know that their property is well seen. And what if their neighbor had the exact same system, and their neighbor beside them had the exact same system, and the people across them had the same system? It actually makes the neighborhood safer. So if some vehicle was broken into across the street, you having 365 days of recording surveillance, we're able to make your neighborhood a little bit safer. Therefore, we can solve more crimes. We can deter criminals from coming into that neighborhood, especially if it's known that most criminals that do crime in that area are prosecuted. So I think taking that approach, you want a professional to come out here, and that's something that we do. When we call Hawk Security Services, one of the services we provide is that we have professional installers that come out here and will, not let your wires be shown. We hide them in your home, professionally install them to get the right angles, to get the right concerns, and make sure all those needs are met in a professional manner. And one of the things is that we offer is lifetime warranty.
Okay.
Or I should say, as long as you're a Hawk customer. It's not, because when I say lifetime warranty, it's your life or my life or
Right.
whose life is it. It's really as long as you're a Hawk customer, we take care of you. We make sure that if there's any maintenance on any of the surveillance or alarm system that we install, we make sure we take care of that.
So talk about the actual, an app. I see a lot of people, they have the ability to turn their, their security system on or off, with their phone. Is there a set number of users for an address, or, can mom, dad, and both kids, have that ability on their phone? How does that work?
Oh, great question. So typically alarm.com is a very popular system that most alarm companies, in fact, a large majority of them, including some of the big boys like ADT, are going to alarm.com. So it's an app that most of the large companies are using, and that's the one we use. It's very interactive. It has a very large platform to access surveillance, to access your alarm system. You can have up to 21 users if you want. I doubt there would be 21 people living in the home. That would be unusual, but if they were, we can definitely maintain that. So for a company, for example, you can have a supervisor and maybe some of the managers that have access to a control. But specifically for a home, you'll have a main person that controls the admin side, and then of course you can allow the husband, or maybe both of them be administrators, and of course the children that are of age that have cell phone, and you want them to have access. You can get up to 21, I believe.
Okay, good. Talk a little bit about your self-protection certifications and training. This is something that we may organize as a workshop down the road, but talk a little bit about that.
So when I consider myself to be a security expert, I go above and beyond just home security and the commercial and just dealing with cameras and surveillance and alarms. I really look and investigate, and I really train myself to look at different realms when it comes to security and understanding how there's bad humans that made bad decisions against other humans. So with that being said, I think self-protection comes first, along with protecting your family and along with protecting your home that holds your family. So the programs that we offer, obviously here in Texas with the Second Amendment and so forth, Texas is very popular with handguns. So most people want to carry concealed or just have a firearm in the home. So I want to make sure that we provide training for people that decide to make that decision. I'm not saying that every homeowner needs to have a firearm in their house, but if you are in that category, you are a homeowner and you have the weapon, I just want to make sure that your spouse is trained, that your children are familiar with the firearm. So I teach myself along with my other partners. We do license to carry, we do firearms training. I primarily do a lot of self-defense and tactics when it comes to protecting yourself and you don't have weapons. I focus on, obviously, the greatest weapon we have is our mind and our ability and will. And so a lot of my training really just focuses on that. So we kind of cover, it all starts with us. I think Mother Teresa said it best. If you want to change the world, go home and love your family. And I think protecting your family and protecting yourself is really falling into that category. So I think it starts there.
Correct. So for all the listeners out there, how would they get in touch with you? How do they find you?
So I think, as I mentioned before, the security expert, I have a Facebook page, the security expert, Rod Rodriguez, where I kind of deal with a lot of seminars that I offer, a lot of training outside of in different locations in the DFW area that I offer. So there's a good place to find my next training. And of course my YouTube channel, The Security Expert, and then of course my Instagram and so forth. But all of that can be found headquartered at my Facebook page, The Security Expert.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate you coming on today. Have a great holiday, and be on the lookout in early 2019 for a class that Rod will be teaching. And I want to thank DM Productions for all the work behind the scenes to make the podcast work so well. Have a great holiday season, and we'll see you next month.
To share